Yeah, the revelations now televised. A platform for you and I, an outlook with full heart and clear eyes. Now, these are just my thoughts. Truth on how I feel on these topics I reveal. Please know my toll, I always keep it real. Can't face the word if you can't face facts. For your time, just open up your mind. That's it, just live, think big, now take that. With God in me, this here was made by design. Yeah, the revelation will be televised. REVELSations.
What's up, everybody, and welcome back to the REVELSations Podcast. It's your boy, Rev. Please subscribe, rate, and review wherever you get your podcasts. Hit me up on all the social media platforms at the REVELSations Podcast. That's on TikTok, Facebook, and Instagram. I'm excited to be back here with you all today. Hopefully you're doing well. I'm doing all right. I'm recording this on April 10th, 2024. Yesterday was pretty tough for me and my family, just commemorating the life of my mother, who passed away on April 9th, 2021. So this is 3 years. And man, things are tough, but they're okay. We fight through it. Family's been through a lot, but we remain hopeful and we remain happy. So that's what we're going to talk about today, anger and happiness, because it seems like more and more we live in a world where everybody's angry. And not only angry, they're fighting for their right to be angry. They want to be angry. When you tell people to be happy, they get upset. And we tend to lean to the negative more than we do to positive. And I just want to talk about that today real quick, just to shed some light and just hopefully people can be happier and understand how anger can negatively affect you. Anger or sadness can negatively affect you during your day. It could affect anything. So before we get started, share this with somebody. So anger, let's start with that one. Anger is a strong feeling of annoyance, displeasure, or hostility, according to the dictionary. A strong feelings of annoyance, displeasure, or hostility. Another definition of anger is strong feelings of displeasure and usually antagonism. Okay, so it's just you're just not happy. You're upset. You're frustrated. We know what anger means. And of course, happy, to be happy, the definition of happiness is a feeling or showing of pleasure, happiness. It can mean to have favor or luck, to be fortunate, to be glad, to be pleased. It can be characterized by an atmosphere of good fellowship. And I think we all want to be happy. We all want to be happy, but we're doing a bad job of being happy and showing happiness. And we talked about it in the last verse that happiness can come from within. Happiness can be exactly where you are, but we're always searching for more. But not only are we always searching for more, we're also predisposed and almost programmed to be angry, programmed to go toward things that make us angry. But what we don't realize is our anger, if we think about it, our anger does not serve us. It doesn't serve us well, at least. It may serve us in the negative. It does not serve us. And our anger doesn't affect anybody else. It only affects us. Stress, blood pressure, and things. Now, what we do with that anger can affect other people. Our actions can affect others, but our feelings ultimately can affect us. So start this off. The disposition to negativity and just being upset all the time. I was listening to a podcast the other day because I listen to podcasts all the time. And this guy was just, they were like joking around. And he said something about Yelp reviews, and he said, why do people even leave Yelp reviews? And then the co-host jumped in and said, well, I understand why people leave Yelp reviews, but I only believe and listen to the negative ones. I don't tend to believe the positive ones. And he was like, okay, explain. He was like, well, if you go to a restaurant and he used a restaurant as an example, you go to the restaurant and they give you bad service. Of course, you want to go on Yelp to let other people know that this is not where you spend your money. So whenever I read a Yelp review and it's negative, I believe it. He said, but when I see a positive Yelp review, I tend to not believe it because I think it's their mama, their cousin, their friend, or they go out and buy it. And it's true. I talked to a friend of mine. She is into marketing communications, and she said people do buy positive reviews.
But I understand that, and I believe that happens. But the guy was saying that if it's good, he doesn't waste his time saying that it's good. Why would he waste his time complimenting someone? And that's what I'm getting at. Why are we so quick to criticize or judge, but not so quick to praise or to promote? And I believe that is because we are programmed to be angry. We're programmed to go toward the negative. Now, whether that's nature or nurture, that's up for debate. But I don't think there is a debate that we're programmed for that. Another story, a couple of years ago, this is a true story. I was in Panda Express. And sometimes, if you ever catch Rev out in the streets, sometimes, not all the time, don't ask me, because I probably won't do it if you ask me, but sometimes I just might buy a random person's lunch. So I'm in line, I get my Panda Express, and as I'm checking out, they tell me my total, and I'm like, I'm going to pay for this and that guy too. Now, whoever this man is, I still don't know your name. I don't know where you're from. I don't know anything about you other than I wanted to buy you lunch this day. Just a random act of kindness. I wasn't doing it for anything. And for about 45 seconds to a minute, he was confused. I was like, hey man, I'm gonna buy your lunch. What do you mean? Like he got a, mean mugging me. And I'm like, man, I'm just gonna buy your lunch. What for? Man, because I'm trying to be nice. What do you want? Nothing. What are you selling? Man, nothing. I'm not interested in anything. Hey man, literally, I'm just buying your lunch just to be nice. That's all. I don't want nothing from you. I'm not trying to have some long conversation. It was just on my heart to be nice to a fellow citizen. I want to buy your lunch. After 45 seconds to a minute, he was like, oh man, that's really cool. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Cool. Shook his hand, walked out the store. The problem was the immediate disposition to anger and skepticism. The immediate disposition. And that's what I didn't understand. I think that was a weird encounter. We are predisposed to people being mean. Now, I could understand it because the world is so on guard, because we are have our sentence heightened, right? That we are dispositioned to that, but that's not a good thing. That's not a good thing because there are a lot of good people in the world. And I would say there's more good than bad, but we don't trust anyone. And when I don't trust you, then I don't even want to be nice to you because you might take my kindness for weakness. Or when somebody is being kind, we expect them to try to take advantage of us. When somebody does something, when somebody compliments, we raise an eyebrow and say, why would they compliment that person? But if it's a negative review or something negative is said, we automatically believe it. Think about it. What gets all the clicks, right? We can go to the Shannon Sharp episode of Club Shay Shay with Cat Williams. Why was that one of the most viewed YouTube videos in the history of YouTube? Because he was excoriating people. He was putting people on blast, and people are drawn to that negativity. We're drawn to negative things. We're drawn to anger because Cat Williams, he may not have been angry, but he seemed angry, and we thought negative things were going to come from it. You do positive things, it's much harder for those things to get traction. And the question is, how is that serving us outside of our fleshly entertainment? And that's what you may be here for, fleshly entertainment, which is cool. But is that serving you well? Is that making your life better? Is that making the world a better place? I say no, but you may say yes. But let's continue. We're living in a very divided world. Left and right, women and men, politics, economy, everything is super divided. I'm not saying it was ever united, but it's super, super divided. How is that serving? And not only that, I'm sorry, before I get to how is that serving us, when we don't agree with something someone says, I said this in a previous verse, that we say, I don't agree with that person. And it's like, well, no, you just don't agree with what they said. But no, we are literally saying, because you don't agree with me, or I don't agree with what you said, or you don't agree with what I said, now I don't agree with the entirety of you. And now we're angry. I've talked to people who lose their parents. When I say lose their parents, no longer talk to their parents because political views are different. Losing best friends for 20 years because gender views are different. And everybody's so angry. And you're mad. And I'm like, why are you mad? I have people I talk to often, and I ask them a question seeking learning and understanding, but they're angry at my question. And my thing is, don't be angry with me. Don't insult me, but instead teach me, understand my heart. What happened to assuming good intent? Now, of course, there's some negative people out there. There's some terrible people out there. And I would say, be clever, be wise, watch your back. But let's not be so dispositioned to negativity and anger to where when somebody is trying to be kind to us, we approach them with anger and negativity. We're just not happy. We don't live it. We say we want to be happy. We're even pursuing happiness, like we talked about in the sad pursuit of happiness. But when we're faced with it, we end up greeting happiness with anger. And our anger does not serve us. Think about it. How many of us have acted out in our anger? And how does it serve not only us, but our greater world? It may make us feel good in the short term to get back at somebody, cuss somebody out, hit somebody, whatever it is. But how does that serve the greater good in the long term? Do we not want the greater good to be served? Even if we cannot agree on the greater good, the way you're going about it, disassociating yourself with people completely that you've known for years and years, cutting family members off, is that serving you well? And if we're doing that to other people, how can they ever learn? It is like a doctor saying, I know that you're sick. Go over there and get well, then come see me. I love you. Me and you seem to disagree on this point. Instead of me loving you into acceptance, go over there, figure it out, then come back to me. What is that? And the thing is, do we want others to treat us that way? It goes back to the golden rule, not do unto others as they do to you. That is not it. That's the remix. That's the copper rule. The golden rule is do unto others as you would have them or as you want them to do unto you. Do we want people to be so angry with us? It does not matter if they are. Do we want them to be? Do we want, when we say something that someone disagrees with, do we want them to cut us off? Do we want people to not forgive us? The answer to those things, if we're being honest in ourselves, is no. So why are we so quick to do it to others? Because we are angry and we want to be angry and we fight to be angry. I've been doing I've listened to a couple of other podcasts. I'll say this and I'll head out. Listen to a couple of other podcasts. And this guy was talking about dating. And he was saying there are 3 keys to like a successful relationship. And he was saying what the first 2 keys are. And then he said the third one, there's this rule, and he calls it the unbreakable rule. And he was like, it's a sharp tongue and a disrespectful words and a disrespectful tone. And I've been asking people like, hey, out of these 3 things, which is the hardest for you to give up? And the people I've been talking to have all been honest with me and said the sharp tongue and the disrespectful tone and words. Like, I can serve the person. I can please the person, but I don't want to give up my disrespect, my anger, and my ability to be nasty toward another person. That's going to be the hardest for me to give up. Why is it so hard for us to not be disrespectful and angry? Why is that so difficult? What has happened in our world where we are holding on, clawing, scratching to keep our anger? I know there's a lot of things to be angry about, but guess what the world doesn't need? Another angry person. The thing is messed up. But how is being angry, mad, or negative-minded toward the thing serving you or the greater world? How is it making us a better society? How is it making the world a better place to be angry? Now, we can see an injustice. We can see something that's not right and try to fix it. But how is the anger serving us other than making us more divided? And you can say, well, the anger is motivating me to do something. Is it? Is it? Because a lot of us are just sitting there talking. And then when we do act out of our anger, are we really acting to improve? Are we acting to inflict pain or some type of punishment on those who are making us angry? I would say it's the latter. So we don't necessarily need to be mad and angry at something to invoke change. Something can be bothersome and we can see it's not right, but being angry about it, that part isn't going to serve us well. And it's not going to serve the people who we are trying to turn around and change. I'm done. Real quick. Another verse of the REVELSations podcast. Please subscribe, rate, and review. Share. Ultimately, that's what I need you to do. Share this with somebody else and ask yourself, am I angry? Am I always mad? Am I always upset? Do I have a predisposition to negativity? Do I believe negative more than I do positive? Why am I skeptical toward positive things and I believe negative things? When, like, why am I drawn to things where people are snapping on each other and being nasty to each other, and things where people are being nice to each other? I turn an eye to it. I don't really want to pay attention to it. That's what it is. Again, REVELSations Podcast, the REVELSations Podcast on IG, I should say, TikTok and Facebook. You can contact the show directly, REVELSations Podcast at gmail.com. I am because we are. Hallelujah. Holla back. Peace.